Today we have two young, energetic, inspiring gentlemen who started their business about 2 years ago. In fact, they founded M&T, which is roofing and sheet metal, early 2019, with over 30 years of experience in roofing. In combination of both of them, I'm really excited to have them on because we worked together on a project about 2 years ago. Actually, it was right before they started their company, Rittenhouse Savoy, and they were with their old employer. And I'm really excited for them to share their story on why they decided to take a leap of faith in themselves. Kevin and Andy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Nick. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to have you guys, man. And I just want to go back to us working together at Rittenhouse Savoy. It was a very challenging project because it was the heat of the summer. And, when you're 200 plus feet up in the air and you're doing those roofing systems, it was a challenging job, especially because it was what do you call it? A rip off, tear off system, replacement system.
Yep. The replace. Yep.
Yep. There was two different roofing types. You had a PVC roof on the lower roofs, right? And cold applied system up high, where there was just certain areas that they scanned the roof and they needed certain areas to be replaced because they had some, I guess, pre-existing leaks and issues where the scan would show where those leaks exist. But back when you were with EDA Contractors, Kevin, I'll start with you. In 2002, you started as a roofer apprentice for Local 30. You want to talk a little bit about how you got into becoming a roofer?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So essentially, I grew up in the Port Richmond area of Philadelphia, and a lot of the neighborhood guys were tradesmen, growing up. So obviously, I had a son at a young age, and then I was helping my father rehab houses, and he needed a roof replacement done. We were down in the Temple area, and he's like, "Hey, let's do this roof." So I'm like, I've never done it before. I've never been on a roof, and he kind of, we're up there, torching a roof and things like that. And I kind of, was like, it was a tough job at the time. It was tough. So, but I also had some family that was involved. My cousin BJ is a foreman for the union for over a lot of years. Mm-hmm. And he got me in. So he said, come in the roofing. There's an apprenticeship program. There's health benefits. There's a pension. It's it's hard work, but at the same time you get compensated for the work that you do. Obviously, if you're showing up on time, you're going in. So he got me into the union, and I was ripping roofs at 18 years old. So.
Excellent. And that was 2002 as a roofer apprentice. And then you became a journeyman in 2005. Is that correct?
I did. Yes. I went through the apprenticeship program, obviously, a lot of dumpster diving and a lot of, job site organization and things like that. And I had to earn my stripes. So, It was good because I came on a crew where there was a lot of older guys in the roofers. And back then it was a different animal than it is now. It's more professional, you don't have the beers in the back of the truck. You have V8s and all. So it's not like how it used to be when I came in. And I'm sure people at a certain age always say that. But so it was a learning experience in itself. It was an older crew. I was a younger kid, and I didn't really get a lot of the details. So I actually learned the grunt work of the setup, which I'm fortunate now, at this point in my life now. So yeah, I became a journeyman. I had, great foremen, great leaders. We obviously, went to EDA and kind of like just grew from there at EDA. And, it's a great company. They do more than just roofing. It's they do panels.
Specialty.
It's specialty, correct. So
great
it wasn't just learning roofing. You start to learn the construction end of things, like the whole, more than just roofing. So, which was a great experience for myself.
And then it was about 8 years later, you became a foreman. In 2013?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I had and it all due to the company and the great foreman that I had in front of me. He taught me a lot of things, how to set up the roof and things like that. What do you look for, as far as coming in on time and not calling out and coming in late, showing up to the job 20 minutes prior beforehand, and just certain things that were non-negotiable. So it was a great learning experience for myself. And then I was able to take EDA's foremanship program that they provided, which in itself was a great learning curve. It was instead of starting at 50%, I started 75%, and then when I did take that role, it was more of not trial and error, but it was more of I was faster track to learning when you were on the job prior to going through the. So yeah, that's essentially
excellent. And then as a foreman, what's your crew size? What was the biggest crew size that as a foreman that you were managing in the field?
So it varied. When I first became a foreman, I was doing a lot of the waterproofing, the under slab. It was ADP on top of an aerial lift. So you can only have 2 to 3 guys, and you're managing different elevations, doing the air vapor barriers and things like that fall within the roofing scope of work. So I was up to 6 guys on certain jobs, 8 guys on certain jobs. It depended on the scope that we had on that particular project
and the size of the job.
Correct.
Right, got it. And then in 2016, you became superintendent for EDA, and as a superintendent, you're pretty much just bouncing around from different projects. When I met you, you were superintendent, and you were kind of the guy that would come and check on the foreman and just make sure they have what they needed, and any support that they needed, you were there to help them. Correct?
Yeah, correct. And the superintendent position was a role that I didn't know fully before actually signing up for the superintendent role. And I think a lot of people understand that part before they take that position. It's a challenging one. It's just to say the least. So,
and challenging. Why? Because you're dealing with a lot of different personalities. You're managing people, correct?
Absolutely. So you're managing people, you're managing procedures, you're managing the customer, you're managing
that too. Yeah.
Site. It's everything. So you learned a lot. Your phone never stops ringing. It's good news, bad news, and this guy, that's bad, and this is late, and this guy's here, and it was a lot of. You had to be very flexible for that position.
Yeah. No, I got it. What I do as a CM, we have superintendents who manage all the various disciplines, and you can only imagine, their phone going off from 24 tradesmen, they're dealing with all the foremen, and it's crazy. It definitely can be crazy. And then in 2017, you decided to go to the Community College of Philadelphia to get a construction management certificate?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So it was more of it's not, I guess, what I'm becoming. So I want to be able to challenge myself. I want to be able to constantly learning, constantly reaching out to better myself. And a lot of things are at the core of, even when I was in my previous employer, it was a lot of it was something that I always wanted to challenge myself. And it was great that I was able to accomplish a lot of things, especially at a role with being a superintendent that, and raising a family and thing like everybody else. Like I have 3 kids, they play sports, 2 dogs, a cat, a wife. So it was a challenge to go through the school, but I was able to tough it out.
Excellent. How did you do?
Good. It was a challenge itself, especially taking some of the courses. And for me, I wanted to go back into the classroom. So obviously it's all pre-COVID, but it was a challenge itself, because when you're in there with, younger people, younger generation, it's a challenge. So it put me back into a role, even as a superintendent or a form, it put me in different roles and being uncomfortable, but being comfortable. So it was a great experience.
It's a good experience. Good. Great. And Andy, and just so you guys know, M&T, Kevin is the M and Andy is the T. And let's go to the T now. Andy, so you actually went to the Army out of high school, correct?
Yes, correct. Not directly out of high school.
Okay.
I had to experience a couple things first, and I guess wasn't necessarily going down the right paths, and I think I was 20 when one day I walked by a recruiter's office, and I told him he had 2 days to get me out of there, or I wasn't going to go because I knew I would have time to think about it. If I sat and thought about it, I wasn't going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the Marines first, the Navy second, and the Army third. And the Army guy could get me out of there the fastest, so
Oh, okay.
I joined the Army. Yeah.
What was that experience?
It was amazing. I wouldn't change it for the world. I wish I would have done more with my military career, but definitely an experience. Something I feel as though any young kid who doesn't have much direction or anything like that, should consider.
All positive. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not easy like anything, but you don't realize it when you're there, how much fun and how much camaraderie there is.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
But it's definitely a learning experience. So,
what did you like the best about it?
I think just the aspect of serving my country. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was always prideful to put the uniform on and things like that. I got home from basic training and my schooling 10 days before September 11th. So, it was a culture shock. I got home and I was just hanging out. Next thing you know, there's planes hit the trade centers. And
Yeah.
the world changed after that,
Sure did.
They say, get your gear and get down here. And we're standing in America with, rifles and locked and loaded, and so it was definitely different, but no, I love the military. I love the people, and meet people from all over the world. So it's definitely fun. So
no, good stuff. And then you got into flat roofing and sheet metal. When did you start getting into that, and how did you get into that?
So I had seen a relative, my uncle who owns a commercial roofing company in South Jersey. I live in Pennsylvania, and he had asked me, I was bartending at the time, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come work for me?" And I said, "Nah, I'm not interested in being a roofer," and I was busy having fun. And then I saw him again, maybe 6 months later, and he didn't give me it wasn't a question. He said, you're moving to New Jersey and you're going to come work for me. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I don't have a choice here. So, so I did. And I thought, well, worst case scenario, I'll just move back and go bartend again. And I guess the rest is history, because I'm still here. They say once you're a roofer, you're always a roofer. But no, I started to, when I first started, I didn't know anything. And I was in the office as the vice president's assistant. And that lasted 6 months. And my uncle said to me, he's like, "You're not learning anything in here. You got to go out on the roof." And I thought at the time it was punishment, and turned out it probably was the best thing you could have done, because that's really how you learn, and that's where you learn. I think the experience that you get on the roof is something you can't duplicate. And if you're going to want to do more in your career, whether it's estimating, project management, whatever, those days on the roof will come in very handy, to say the least. So.
And what was the name of that company that you were with?
EA Nolt.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, where did you head to? Was that EDA then after that, or?
No. So from there, I went to a company called USA General. And up there, I wanted to become an estimator, and I had said to my uncle, "Hey, I want to learn how to estimate." And this is probably 9 years later. I was bending metal at the time, and he said, I can't teach you how to estimate. You got to go elsewhere if you want to do that. So I essentially said, okay. And I went to USA and became an estimator there, and a project manager. And I worked there for roughly 4 years, and ended up, it was a 2 hour and a half drive each way every day. And it took its toll on me going to North Jersey. So I ended up, I wanted to start my own company. So I quit there and started my own company. And at the time, I was just getting it started, really just the beginnings. And I got a phone call from one of the vice presidents of EDA, and it said that, my resume came across his desk and would I be interested in a job? And I said, you know what, I think I would, maybe I wasn't ready to do the company at the time. So I think my wife probably wasn't ready either. And so I went to EDA, and I guess it was 2015. Yeah, about 2015. So, and that was an amazing experience there. A great company, and you think you know everything until then you get to a company like that, and they're head and shoulders above any place I had ever worked, as far as just structure, management, everything. The job, like amazing ownership. Ed is an amazing guy,
and the entrepreneurial spirit that Ed has too. And
correct.
all his people, anyone I dealt with at EDA, just good people.
For sure. And I for 6 months I worked there, and I kept waiting for that shoe to drop. Like, well, when is this going to be not a real company? Like, something's not right here. Like, shouldn't be this, not fun, but like enjoyable working at a place, construction company. So that shoe never dropped.
Well, that goes to show that you really, really loved what you were doing too.
Correct, I did, and I think that's once you start to really understand roofing and construction, that's when it becomes enjoyable, and you at least that was for me. Once it was like a light bulb went off one day, kind of, I guess you could say, and I really started to love what I was doing. Which is, there's not much glory in roofing, I guess you could say, but.
No, good stuff. Good stuff. And I have something here, guys. I wanted to show you little something that you guys sent me. I have it here in my office. I look at it often, and I want to read it because, it's stuff like this that really, motivates me and inspires me that I had helped you guys in any way. And let me just read it. It says, Nick, just wanted to say thank you again for having a hand in helping M&T to get our very first project. We also wanted to thank you for helping inspire Kevin and I to take that leap of faith and go out on our own. You may not have known it at the time, but some of the conversations that we had at the Savoy truly helped us get to where we are today. I really appreciate that, guys. And the conversations that we had there, they were a lot of fun, and I didn't know it at the time that you guys were already considering on taking that leap. And I'm really proud of you that you guys did do it, and where you are now. And I see you have big drawings back there that you're estimating. And so how has work been for you guys?
It's been, go ahead, Kev. You can. I mean, it's been great. We've been, knock on wood, we've been steady. Things could always be better. We chose to do this at a crazy time. I gave my notice at EDA, and and a couple weeks later, COVID hits. But again, we've been plugging away. We just got our largest project to date, which is a huge accomplishment for Kevin and I.
Congrats.
What we really left, to do was stuff like that. So, go ahead, Kev.
Awesome.
Oh, well, just to touch back on the letter, Nick, it was something that was genuine, and it was something, like you said, about the conversations that we had out at Savoy, and you telling us a little about how your company and the ups and downs and everything in between, and it kind of it was an inspiration, just because you're human, and we saw the stuff that you went through, and it was like, okay, so it might not always be great, but then when it's great, it is great, but it might not. There's going to be bad times and up downs. You said you went through a little bit of that roller coaster, and that kind of was an inspiration for us, and that's why we
Yeah.
we definitely want to send you that also.
No,
Yes,
awesome.
correct.
And guys, just keep in mind, I'm going on 7 years now, and it's still a roller coaster ride, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Absolutely.
Have fun with it, and just keep, remember to celebrate the little wins, and just stay positive, stay positive. And you guys are, and you guys are going to do great. You're going to do great. So you touched on a big project that you just landed.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about it, or anything else that's in the works?
Yeah, so we just got the project. It's 5 buildings. They're tear off roofs. 5 different buildings in one general area. It's a TPO system. Yeah, it's a big project, and then I'm currently bidding another really big project, which is a high rise in Center City. That will be even larger project than the one we just
Awesome.
got. So listen, we're just trying to stack those jobs up and build our resume and our backlog, and keep work on the books for moving forward. So
No, good stuff. Where would you like to see your company, Kevin, in 5 years?
Growth. It's more of not like, I guess, what we're getting from the company. It's more of what we're becoming. So that's big. It's being very competent. We want to be a competent subcontractor, roofing and sheet metal. So we know the little, like you said, the little wins, the little things that that develop into big habits. So we want to make sure our habits are, it's safety, it's quality.
Yes.
It's all
Yes.
them things. It's building trust. It's communication. It's doing the things that we say we're going to do and then follow through with that. And they're the biggest things that we think that are important moving forward to get us to be, in business long term.
No, excellent. Well said. And one thing I want to tell you about these two gentlemen, me as a construction manager, general contractor, what I'm looking for in subcontractors, obviously it's communication, but just responsiveness. And the responsiveness that I've had from my experience from these two gentlemen is second to none. So you guys are headed in the right direction, and just keep that communication, that responsiveness, and just everything that you just spoke about, and you're going to build that trust, and it's going to happen, quickly for you, because you guys absolutely have what it takes. And again, I'm proud that you guys took that leap, and you're doing well.
Yeah, that was the scariest part, was taking that.
It sure is.
It really is. I mean, that's the most the most challenging part of it all, was kind of just burning all the ships and heading in that direction. But it was people like you that reach back and kind of give us some words of wisdom. So
yeah. No,
yeah,
awesome.
we wouldn't have been able to do it without people like you and our wives,
Yeah.
our children. I mean,
For sure.
all the support of our families.
Yep.
That was a huge thing. And there's ups and downs there too. But at the end of the day, they've been there for us and supported us. So
Yep. Our biggest supporters and cheerleaders.
yeah,
That's what it sounds like, because mine certainly is. So Andy, you said that you knew you wanted to, have your own business at some point, and that was a while back. Kevin, how about you? Did you know that you wanted to have your own business for a long time, or did that just come about, a little bit before, when you guys took that leap?
So yeah, I mean, I did want my own business.
Yeah.
I did. So I tried it at a younger age. Obviously, it was, like I said, it was more of a learning experience, and the things that I had to go from. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of things that I had to develop over time, and it was kind of things, like you said, it's like ups and downs. So you had to learn from the ups and downs, and at that time I probably wasn't ready, and I'm glad that I wasn't ready, because there were some more things that I had to learn. So yeah, I didn't always want to inspire to make that that leap of faith, but I don't think it wasn't in the cards at that time, and there were some more things I had to learn.
Yep. And is it really a leap of faith though? I think about this often. You're taking a leap, and you're taking it, and you're putting that faith in yourself. And if you trust yourself and you know what you're capable of, who better to put it in, right?
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where we were at with it. Kevin and I, we said to ourselves, we would talk all the time. We said, if we can do this for EDA, a multi-million dollar company that's, we're doing the largest projects, the hardest projects you could ever imagine. Why couldn't we do it for ourselves on a much smaller scale to at least to start? Because you can't start at the top. I mean, that was that's kind of where we said, like, why couldn't we do it? We do it every day.
Yep. The big difference is you can't go home and just shut everything down. You have your own company now, and of course you make time for for your loved ones, your family, but having your own business, it's especially in the earlier years. Don't get me wrong, you can structure your business and you can have your downtime the way you want to, but that early on you want to build, right? You want to get your name out there, and you're putting a lot of time and effort to do that, as I'm sure you guys know. But yeah, it's not like when you were working out in the field, you have your tools on, right? And then 3:30 comes and tools are off and you're done for the day,
Right.
That's gone.
Absolutely. And it's good. It's about having that balance too. It's about having that work balance, that family balance, that friend balance. And obviously they're harder to find with the COVID and all, but you got to somehow, find time for yourself to read, reflect, and build, and then have time for your family and sports and things like that. And it's all a balancing act,
And those were also reasons why we wanted to do this, and was to obviously you start out in the beginning, and maybe it's a grind every day, but there is the hope is to have more opportunity to be around your family and to see your kids.
Sure.
I was traveling to and from EDA, an hour each way. It wears on you, and not that there's different hangups with your own business, but well,
you're making your own schedule. You're creating your
Correct.
schedule, and you manage it how you want. You don't have anyone to answer to, other than obviously your partner. You guys figure that out together. Well, you have
the customer and the customer.
And I was just going to say, and the wife too. The wife,
yeah. For sure.
Good stuff. And speaking of family and kids, and obviously you guys are both family men. I mean, what I know about you and what you've already spoke about, but outside of family, the kids, I know they're in sports and they're doing this and that. Outside of that, what are you guys passionate about? Kev, you want to start? What are you passionate about outside of work and family, which I know you're passionate about both of those?
I tremendously like to read. I like to, find new books and things like that. More on the, positive self-help type side. So I read tons of books. I just went out today and got 2 more books. That takes up a lot of the time. And then I also like to golf and recreationally and great, social distance sport. So it's something that I find that it gives me that balance where now I can get, I have 4 hours once a week. I don't do many things like I used to. I don't go to the rink and play basketball like I used to. I don't the softballs and baseball team. So golf is my balance to be, maybe 4 hours a week that I can get for myself to. So obviously read, golf, and then obviously not a lot of traveling, at the moment, but that's essentially what I do extracurricularly.
I can relate to almost all that. Good stuff. How about you, Andy?
Yeah, I would say the same, similar. I love golfing as well. I don't get out as much. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, so they're a lot to handle. But I definitely love golfing, and when I'm not, with my family or doing that, I love to, again, read. I like to learn. I like watching how-to videos and things like, always with construction. I'm always trying to learn something new about something I didn't know how to do or whatever, or projects around my house for that matter. I have an older house and there's a lot of work to be done here. So I enjoy that, just fixing it up, doing it myself. I hate, paying other contractors. Sure. But then again, there's mistakes that come with that too. So
yeah, I get it. Totally. So how did Ed take when you guys decided to take the leap of faith? How did he take it? Because I mean, you have two good guys that are leaving. Just curious, if you just a quick story on how that all went down for the both of you. Ed is the owner of VDA, who I've done business with for I guess over 15 years or so. And but anyway, Kev, you go first.
So it was more of me leaving. It was kind of like more of a, I guess, why, you know what I mean? So I kind of explained some of the things, and like I told him, he's more of the Yankees of the construction field, right? So he's by far, awesome in compared to, specialty contractors. So
Yeah,
it was, we left on, good terms, and this has always been my dream. So it's something that I always wanted to at least inspire it to be. So it's more of M&T moving forward. It's more of like, how are we going to develop and move forward?
yeah. I mean, I'm asking guys because a lot of people in this business take things like that personally, and it's how I know Ed, his entrepreneurial spirit is like no other, that I've met in this business, and what he's done to build his business is quite incredible. I can only imagine that he would have been totally supportive of you guys trying to do your
Correct.
own thing.
He was, and we didn't leave at the same time, so it wasn't like a situation where we broadcasted to everybody that what we were doing, or what our intentions were. But when I spoke to him personally, I was also dealing with some health issues at the time, and but I said to him that this was a dream of mine, and he couldn't have been more supportive. He said, listen, he's like, you're not gonna ever get that out unless you try it. He's like, that will never go away. And he said, if you ever need anything, he would, his door is always open. And, he's an amazing man.
You don't want that regret, right? You don't want that regret.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he was awesome. Yes.
Yeah. No, awesome. And I kind of knew how you guys were going to answer that. Good stuff. So what are you guys most active on social media wise?
So currently we're active on, obviously, Facebook. We're kind of getting into new things with LinkedIn, and kind of learning how we can use that as a tool for marketing and things like that. So it's all been a learning experience and a learning curve. So like I said,
we have a website as well.
Website, M&TContractors.com. We're on Facebook, M&T Contractors.
Yep.
So
I see some of your posts. Awesome. I mean, I love the whole safety aspect of it, because as a roofer, that is the most important.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it really in our industry period, but you guys being, doing all that high work, there's definitely some special, requirements there.
Absolutely. And it's actually a special thing to me. Like I would want your son to work for our company, to know that we're safe. So it all goes back to that. I would want you to feel comfortable that they know that they're going to be safe at the end of the day.
Yep. I love it. So you said your website address. If someone were to want to get in contact with you guys, what's the best way to do that?
Cell phone, email, website,
Okay.
or Facebook, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So go on the company website, and all the contact info is there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Excellent.
So if you're a young guy looking for a job, and you think that construction or roofing is for you, you should certainly reach out. We want to shape and mold young guys that, there's a lot, people don't understand sometimes that there's a lot of money to be made in construction and in roofing, and when you start doing prevailing wage work and things of that nature, you can make $60, $70 an hour, which over 100K as a foreman. I think sometimes there's a bad rap there,
especially with the overtime, possibilities too. They can do extremely well, and at an early stage in their career. And that really leads me to really my final question, gentlemen, is if you're talking to someone that's listening right now that's interested in construction, they don't know, what trade, but they know they have some interest in using their hands. Kevin, you start. What would you tell, a young, 17, 18-year-old in high school, even someone that is in college now that realizes it's not for them and they want to do something different and is interested in the construction industry? What would you tell them, how to start? How are you?
I would tell them to start. I guess it would go off a lot of experience for myself. It would be, college isn't for everyone. It's something that, you like to work with your hands. You like to, you like to be outdoors. You like challenging things. You like challenging environments and building. So for the kid that are in college or the kid that's coming out of high school, get into maybe a summer help and see if you even like the trades, or you can do something for over the summer. It could be any trade. See if you like it. They have helpers before you become apprentices. So if you're talking strictly union, they have an apprenticeship program. So you're going to learn your trade. You'll have that capacity to become a master of that trade. So and then there's always developments with that too. And then once you get into that special trade, there's also different phases of that trade. So it's endless. So I say any kid that is thinking about getting into some type of construction field, just try it out. I'm telling you, you'll be surprised at how much stuff that you learn and it'll be challenging for you.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. You might be in this industry for the rest of your career then.
Exactly.
And that's not a bad thing.
No,
look at you guys. And this is some of the examples that I really want to show is you guys, perfected your craft, if you will, and you converted that into now a business. And if that's something that they want to do, in my opinion, perfecting your craft in construction, whatever trade you're in, I think it's one of the easiest ways, one of the easiest paths to start your own business because you're knowing that technical side really well. You just have to fill in the gaps on the other end, what you guys are already doing, just the marketing and just the pieces, of the business that, you were in the field, you were in the office, that's a great combination right there. You chose your partner well. There's just so many possibilities, in construction and again, guys, what you're doing, love to see it. And I'm going to be following your path and we'll grow together, man.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And thanks again for sharing your story. It's gonna offer a lot of help for anyone that listens. I really believe that it's inspiring. And thank you again for sharing, guys.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Yep. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
Absolutely.
See you, bud.
See ya.